and it's very dangerous. And sometimes even it's like you also have a lot of casualties of war. And in other words, that's for people who are not on the proper foundation and they just stand around with their mouth open looking. They can be, but yeah, in your tongue has the
I was gonna
power.
say that the power of the tongue. You know what? There is a verse that references the power of the tongue, and I think if people thought about that when they're listening to lyric, especially rap, the power
Yeah.
of the tongue.
Yep. Well, even in who they hang around, it's going back to what you said, going and joining the game. It's power in their tongue too. What they teach you, what they entice you into, what they encourage you to do, and there's power of life and death in the tongue. Because if you open your mouth to say the wrong thing, somebody could get you killed. James in the Bible again, going back tying that spiritual foundation regular. The tongue is one of the littlest members in your body. What by that big, but it boasts great things. Talk a lot of talk, tell a lot of lies, and you kill people with the tongue. A
Started
lot,
wars.
a lot of men have broken their wife's spirit because they said something mean to them. They've broken many children's spirit. That's another form of killing a person without the gun. Because you can break a person's spirit by what you say. And then, even though you can say, well, hey, I didn't mean to say that, I'm sorry, but it's already been said already. You can't take it back. And so that's how much power is in the tongue. By the same token, your tongue can speak some edifying things to build people up. Man, that's awesome what you're doing, man. You're doing, you see what I'm saying? It can be used both ways. It can be used for the evil.
Yeah.
And that all those principles are in the Bible to teach us some things. And I always say it's not to make people religious, but our adversary, the enemy, Satan, he uses that to set us up and to steal from us and to kill the very life and the foundation that God has given us. And that's just like how important your history lessons is. That's how important it is to teach your children history. Because if they don't know history, they're bound to fall into the same traps our ancestors fell into, which some of them are falling into that right now. So then that goes right back to violence. But if you got education, then you realize you don't have to deal with everything violently. But when you don't have education, that's when you do things the illegal way and you go pick up the gun and you try to handle it that type of way. See, if you got education, you got a vocabulary, you got a mind that can comprehend truth, and you got a mind that can come up with solutions. See, if you don't have education, nothing in, can't nothing come out. You can't come up with a solution. And that's where a lot of our young people are trapped in now. That's why they're making the horrible decisions. And nothing worse than seeing a young man get caught up in gun violence. He's killed 2 or 3 other teenagers. He's only 15 years old himself. So now you're looking at him, he got a life sentence, maybe 20 or 30 years. Best years gone. So, and that's just one area that we're dealing with is the violence and the gun. But like I said, violence come in a number of ways: sexual abuse, spousal abuse, child abuse. So we have a wide range of topics, but all these still tie back into history, parenting, and foundation. So as you can see, that's systemic, and that's a branch of every root of evil comes from this one nucleus of a life on the foundation.
Yeah, and just to bring things full circle. Obviously, at some point we'll talk about the solution, but we're only talking about a small piece. We're talking about
Very small. I'm talking
family. We're talking about culture. We're talking about the power of the tongue,
very small.
music, gangs. Very small piece.
Not enough
So
day to cover all that.
exactly, exactly. So this is just easy to digest.